Hi, my name's Morag and welcome to this video of the Food Safety Hub around food on display. Food on display is a very common thing. It could be used for display cabinets, or it could be a buffet. A number of sort of scenarios where you've got food that may or may not be under temperature control, in which case the other control is a time control. So this is a workflow, which means that we can keep coming back to this form, and it's separated into two areas. So it's chilled foods on display and hot foods on display. So depending on where you are, the typical regulation is that there'll be a period of time that a food can be out at any temperature and still remain safe in the eyes of the law. Normally that's around the 2-4 hour rule, where you've got food that can stay out at any temperature for a period up to 2 hours. Within that time it can be put back into the fridge. If it's over 2 hours but less than 4 hours, it can remain for sale, and then after 4 hours it needs to be disposed of. So that's an example of the basic requirements around the Food Act, what needs to happen. So this particular form workflow aims to solve a few problems when monitoring that, when doing that in a restaurant or, like I said, in a buffet scenario. And I'll just walk you through the logic of this. So typically the food will come out of a cold room. If we look at the chilled foods, I'll start with that. So foods will come out of a cold room. We monitor that temperature manually. So let's say that was 3.2, and then we've got some items here. So let's say, for example, we have some smoked chicken. Now these values in here where it's got item 1, that will remain saved in there throughout the workflow and for the next workflow. So you don't need to keep writing that in every time. And let's say we've got some Serrano ham as well. Now, as you can see, when I put that value in there, a timer has started here. And what that's a server-based timer, so I can log out and log back in, or someone else can come along at any browser that's got access to the system and see how long that item has been there for. So that's the timer that starts. Now, what we can do is also select this change or replenish button, which will reset the timer and start it again. So the purpose of that is to say that if we bring a new tray of smoked chicken out, or a new tray of food out, we may change the food that's there as well. We've got that real-time timer that's ticking away. So I'll give you an example of how that works. In this case, if I just do chilled food and I say, okay, the status is in progress. Let's say we've just started a service time, and I submit that. I've got one of these that's active, so now I can go away and do my other work, whatever it might be. I can log in, log out. If I can then come back to that, because it's a workflow, I can see on display there's one that's active. So again, if I had many of these throughout a hotel or throughout a franchise or a group of restaurants, the manager, or the sous chef, exec chef, or the QA manager can log in and see directly what's happening across any site. So if we select back into that, that'll remain active in there. So we can start a new one if we wanted to. If we had various outlets, we could do that as well. So if we select back in there and we go into that chilled food, I can see that timer is still ticking away. And again, as I mentioned before, if I was then to change the ham or change the some of these dishes, replenish them, as soon as I do that, that will reset the timer. And so I can do that as many times as I need to throughout that particular service. So when an inspection comes in, or an environmental health officer comes in, or there's an audit, when we are asked to demonstrate how long the food has been out, this is a real-time control, and so we simply bring up the app and show them how long it's been out. Once the process is finished, we can update that to complete and finished, and that'll close it down for that particular service period. And it's a very similar thing with the hot food. So let's say we've got some hot food on there. Let's say we've got a chicken curry, for example. Again, that will start that timer. The only difference is here we've also got a slider to verify that the temperature was reheated to the right temperature. And again, when that comes out, again, we would typically have put another temperature in, and we'll be able to replenish it as well, or change it to restart the timer. So once that service period's complete, we update to complete and submit, and that will submit all of that data to the database. The in-progress data is also submitted each time, so we can see that we've input that a few times now, and all of that that time and around how long the cold food has been out for is all saved into the database.